Hey guys, it's Liz from blueandhazel.com and welcome to my homeschool YouTube channel. If you're new here, I hope that you'll subscribe and also hit that bell if you'd like to be notified whenever I upload a new video. I am a homeschooling mom of 4. This is our 5th year homeschooling and we've been doing it since the very beginning, but this is our very first year using Ambleside Online, which is a full Charlotte Mason homeschool. It's free as far as like the schedules that they hand you, the book list that they hand you, all of the hand holding that they give you. It's all free. It's available online and they have so much information there. So what I wanted to do today, since we have a year 1, a year 3, and a year 4, and all of them are on their own book lists, is I wanted to go ahead and show you all of the books that we're using for my year 1. So I'm going to do another video for our year 3 and year 4, and then hopefully a little video as life goes on and years go on. I'll try to, fill in the gaps for the other ones, but I'm just going to do year 1, 3, and 4 right now because those are the books that we own. Hopefully this will help you visualize if you're thinking about using it, just like what you'll be reading, what the books look like, how big they are, which ones are short, which ones are long, and things like that. So the ones I'm about to show you are all scheduled from Ambleside Online's 36-week chart that you can print off for free on their website. And their book lists I've kind of made in green for myself right here. So these are the ones that I ordered physical copies of, and if you can't do that for all 3 terms, you could just look at what you need for term 1 to get started. Usually for year 1, it's 1 to 2 book readings a day, and that gets us through the whole list for year 1 that week. And then I just color them off when we complete them, so I know like how many we have left to do. And really the night before, I just go and I pick 2 books and I stick them out to read the next day. So it's really simple as far as planning the books goes. That does pick up in the year 3 and 4. I've noticed we have usually about 3 readings to do each day, sometimes less, but on average I plan for 3 readings for the older kids, but for year 1 it's 1 to 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in here. We've got Our Island Story is going to be one. This is a big book, but it's actually spread out over several years, so you will not be reading this whole book in year 1. And I think there might be an illustrated copy, but this one is not. So as far as the reads go, it's usually 1 to 2 pages, then narration afterwards. One thing that has helped us with this book in particular has been to pause more frequently, maybe every paragraph, and then let him narrate something that he remembers. And sometimes we're still getting the I don't know or I don't remember, Mama, and so I'll say sometimes like, okay, I'll narrate this part for you and then pay attention on the next paragraph. And so he's doing better, but I'd say of all our books, this one is the hardest for him to narrate. The next one that we have on the list is 50 Famous Stories. And this is a smaller book, but it's really fun to read and it's scheduled each week. So you'll do basically 1 chapter from this book each week, and the stories are just fun and memorable. This has kind of been a highlight for us to read. I love having that one on the list. Then we have Trial and Triumph is a book that gets spread out over several years. So this one really is only read 3 times in the first 12 weeks and 3 times each term. And these stories are not surprisingly really sad. They're just stories of Christian martyrs and different people and how they died for their faith and for their belief in Christ. And so, yeah, just know that you might want to pre-read some of these, especially with year 1. I was honestly a little bit surprised that we were reading these out loud, mainly because we haven't really read like sad stuff yet with my first grader. It's like, generally fun stories and happy stories and kids stories. And so this is like really meaty and really heavy. And so just kind of keep that in mind when you're reading it if you have a sensitive kid, but I can see like the value in it. It's just, honestly, it's a little surprising, like, wow, we're doing this with a 6-year-old, okay. I don't have the books, like I said, the history books of Benjamin Franklin, Buffalo Bill, and George Washington, but I know those are gorgeous books and ones worth owning. Next up, we have the Burgess Bird book here. And this one is a chapter book And these are really just fun stories and a way to get your kids to be engaged and excited about birds. And so these ones are read every other week. We have these sweet little birds with personalities and stories, and you know, you can read through these, but they will not all be scheduled for the year. So if you want to read them in any random order, you can really. I think the first 3 are scheduled, and then after that, it just says pick a chapter. So another thing I think is really helpful is if you go to the Ambleside Online Facebook page, go ahead to go to their files and find the free file where you can print out coloring pages for these. So that will like give your kids something to do while you're reading about the bird. They can color it. And then I also printed out the file in there that has the color version of the bird so that they can see what it actually looks like. Okay, next up is one of my favorites, and it's Paddle to the Sea. It's a really thin book, the Holland Clancy Hauling books, and the pictures inside are amazing. And these ones are scheduled almost every week. And they're real short and some of the best and easiest for my 6-year-old to narrate right now. He's able to pay attention. He's really loving the pictures. They're short, really, really amazing descriptions. And it's a chance for you to kind of look at a map after each reading and just discover like, where's Paddle right now? Okay, next up is another one of my favorites so far. And this one is James Herriot's Treasury for Children. Your cover might look different than mine here, but it is a pretty thick, hefty book, and it has a lot of pictures inside. Like my son actually, when he's grumpy about not wanting to come over and read, ends up getting sucked into these pictures, and he's able to really pay attention to the stories. This is something we can read in a sitting, and this one is scheduled for, let's see, 2 in term 1, and then there's going to be 2 in term 2, and then there'll be 3 stories in term 3. Okay, next up we have Aesop's Fables, and this is a favorite of my 6-year-old because the stories are short. I definitely get one of the versions that have pictures in it. We accidentally picked up one I bought online that had no pictures, and it was short and condensed and not very good. So I got rid of it and got this one used. But these are scheduled about 2 a week, and they're very short, like I said. So for instance, this would be the reading for him to narrate, and then this here would be the reading for him to narrate. I'll usually try to do 2 of them in the same sitting since they're short, and then we color it off when we're done on our schedule. Okay, so next up we have Parables from Nature here, and this is a kind of thick chapter book, and they are going to be spreading this out over a couple years, so just a few of the stories get read from here. It looks like they're doing 3 in the first term and 3 in the second term, and then 2 in the last term. And I would say we have to break these stories up because they do get a little bit long for his attention span. So he can do like 1 to 2 pages at a time. So we just kind of plan on when this is scheduled to break it a few different times across the week instead of one chunk sitting down. And then another thing that we've done with Parables of Nature is because my year 3 is also scheduled for some, but she missed out on the year 1 readings, I'm combining her with my year 1 and just reading these together with them both, because either way she's going to miss out on a year's worth of the readings. So that kind of saves me time by combining her with my year 1 and just reading their Parables of Nature together. And the next one on the list is going to be Blue Fairy book here, and this is a very thick book with a lot of classic fairy tales inside of it. So there's another one on the free read list called the Red Fairy book. I don't actually have that because I feel like I wouldn't get to it probably with how many stories there are in here. And then one thing to know about this is that not all of the stories are scheduled. So there'll be lots of extra stories that you could read if you wanted to. And then Ambleside Online Advisory has gone through and carefully selected which stories that they wanted to schedule because some of the stories parents have read through and said, that are some of the non-scheduled stories and said, whoa, these are like scary, or these are, you know, kind of shocking stories or whatever. And it's just know that the ones that are on the schedule have been read over and kind of pre-approved by the advisory, and then the other ones are up to you. Maybe pre-read them before and decide if you want to do any extras from here. We really enjoyed The Sea is Salt, and we really enjoyed Beauty and the Beast. You can see there in this version there's some pictures, but mostly it's just small print and reading. And then a good thing to note for us, like when Beauty and the Beast was scheduled, that took us several days to break down because the story was long enough that my year one didn't have the attention span for the whole thing. So we would do 1 or 2 pages narrate, you know, another 1 or 2 pages narrate on a different day. And you can spread that out over several weeks even because, like I said, they don't have this on the schedule each week. So looks like, you know, every 3rd week you'll get a new story. All right, and the next one on here we have is Just So Stories, and this is a little book here. And this one they have 3-ish per term, and they're very short and kind of silly. This just gives you an idea of what's on here. For poetry, A Child's Garden of Verses, and so they have a different poetry book that they pick each term, and it's up to you to, you know, read maybe a poem a day from these, and not like scheduled in which ones to read when, just says read a poem a day or so. So this is our version, cool illustrations, and then term 2, we'll read through this one, Winnie the Pooh here. Viking Tales, I think, is 3rd term, and so we haven't started this one, but this is from Living Book Press, and we'll read through this one towards the end of year 1. And then there's also going to be some suggested geography, and that is on the back of these sheets here. And so this is kind of vague. I feel like it tells you which chapters to read in the geography book, but lets you decide when to do it over the term. For term 1, it has Charlotte Mason's Elementary Geography, Our World Part 1, and Long's Chapter 1, Position. What I have heard is that, you know, once a month or so, you could cover this easily. A lot of these things are naturally covered just in life, so you can see what's scheduled and then decide if you have talked about it naturally, then you can skip that. Here is Long's version. And these books are used mainly as references over the course of several years. So I don't know how much we will dig into these or how much we'll do geography in other ways, but it does tell you which chapters in year 1 to do, and it gives you kind of the whole term to cover those. And from what it sounds like, these are very loose, and most mamas don't schedule these. They just pick it up by the end of the term and say, have we done it yet? And if not, read it, and talk about it. Okay, and the last 2 books I have that are on the schedule, this is going to be the Ambleside Online Poetry Anthology, and we're reading this together in our morning time with all the kids. And this was put together by the Ambleside Online Advisory, and they just have kind of a collection of their favorite poems. We read 1 or 2 a day, and they're silly and short and fun. And then the last one I have here to show you is Tales from Shakespeare by, this is Lamb's version here, and it's a thick story, and we have not yet opened this and read any of these, but stories are much shorter than the actual plays. I'm not exactly sure what we'll do yet. I think we'll do this version actually for my year 1, 3, and 4 all together as a family, but I'm not planning on starting that either till term 2 or term 3 since we're brand new. There are free read lists on the Ambleside Online website as well, and I don't know how many of those we'll get to with my year 1 since he's learning how to read this year. A lot of them would have to be either family read alouds or audiobooks and things like that. Here are a few that I have just from the free read list. We'll probably do the other ones from the library, but King of the Golden River we did as a family read aloud, and the language in here is a great book, but the language in here was definitely over the head of my year 1. Charlotte's Web, then we have Peter Pan as a read aloud, and Boxcar Children as well. So those are a couple examples. What we're probably going to do is go down to the year 0 or to some of the other recommendations on their website for year one who are not reading those longer books like Frog and Toad type books, and start reading through some of those ones. I think Billy and Blaze is on my wish list as well. Yeah, so that's everything in the book stack. If you have any questions, let me know, and I will put the videos for year 3 and year 4 as I make them in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and thanks for watching.